Think of ancient history, and your mind probably goes straight to towering monuments or Stoic philosophers. But before any of that could exist, humans had to trade their lives as athletic, roaming hunter-gatherers for something much more stationary. That shift started in places like Uruk in Mesopotamia around 4000 BCE. Instead of foraging for whatever nature provided, humans figured out how to harvest cereal grains like wheat and barley, creating their own reliable food supply right out of the dirt. But this chart shows the immediate biological toll of that invention. When we track the physical stature of these early populations, the average male height plummeted from 5'9" down to 5'3". Women suffered a similar drastic reduction in size. The cause was the repetitive physical trauma of early agriculture. Processing those grains required hours of crushing rocks together in a hand mill, day after grueling day. And because crops require constant tending, people became entirely landlocked, tied to a single plot of earth for their entire lives. Early agriculture functioned as a biological trap. Survival now required a regime of grueling mass labor that permanently altered our anatomy and forced a fundamental shift in how humans interacted with the world. To organize all that mass labor, early societies designed a rigid machine, the social pyramid. It divided populations into distinct strata, locking everyone into a specific class to ensure the work got done. History is often told through the eyes of the victors, but the true story of antiquity lies in the foundations of this structure. To see how these empires actually functioned, we must climb this machine from the mud of the fields to the luxury of the heavens. Inside this system, the circumstances of your birth dictated everything. It calculated your legal value, assigned your daily physical duties, and mapped out exactly how your life would end. The vast majority of the human population lived at the very bottom. Across massive empires, from Egypt to Zhou Dynasty China, this sprawling base consisted entirely of peasants, serfs, and enslaved people. Take the average Egyptian peasant. Their year was a relentless cycle. During the growing season, they were identical, hunched over the dirt, raising the wheat and barley that kept the entire empire from starving. But when the farming season ended, there was no rest. The elites immediately redirected that massive labor force, forcing peasants to haul stone and construct monumental building projects until the next planting season began. To cope with this endless exploitation, philosophies emerged to make life bearable. In ancient China, Taoism taught the lower classes to align with the natural flow of the universe, encouraging peasants to accept their heavy burdens rather than fight against external forces they couldn't control. At the base of the pyramid, human beings were not individuals with rights. They were a biological fuel source, slowly consumed by the empire to guarantee its own survival. Moving one step up, we find the machinery layer of the pyramid, the artisans, merchants, soldiers, and scribes. They acted as the critical buffer between the dirt and the divine. Someone had to manage the complex logistics of empire. Scribes mastered writing systems like hieroglyphics and early mathematics for a very specific reason: to audit the grain stores and calculate the exact taxes required to keep the pyramid from collapsing. Bureaucracy provided the ledger for human inequality. In Babylon, around 1772 BCE, King Hammurabi codified this logic into a 7-foot-tall stone slab, assigning a literal price to every person. The math was explicit. Break a noble's bone, your bone is broken. But destroy an enslaved person's eye, and you simply paid a fine of half their market price. Ancient societies held no pretense of equality. The entire purpose of this middle class was to maintain a strict legal ledger, permanently pricing your physical worth based entirely on the class you were born into. Finally, we reach the apex. Sitting alone at the top were the kings, the emperors, and the pharaohs, rulers operating under the absolute authority of a divine mandate. The contrast is staggering. While the 5-foot-tall farmer was breaking his spine in the mud, the pharaoh was revered as the supreme, untouchable mediator, bridging the gap between the gods and the world of men. And that demand for absolute luxury didn't stop at death. While an average Egyptian had to navigate the perilous underworld with whatever small trinkets they could afford, The pharaoh commanded immense state resources to carefully mummify and preserve their physical form for eternity. The ultimate manifestation of this extreme inequality is the pyramid itself. It is a massive, labor-intensive tomb built by an exhausted lower class, solely to ensure that one single ruler would be worshipped forever. That was the grand bargain of early civilization. The ruling elite successfully extracted the health, the freedom, and the lifetime labor of millions to purchase their own immortality. Today, the names and the bones of those millions of common laborers are completely lost to the sands, yet the elite rulers who commanded them are still perfectly preserved. We can see the literal, physical proof of this uneven bargain sitting behind glass in our modern museums. The hoarded gold and jewels of the pyramid survive perfectly intact. The art, the intricate writing systems, the sprawling cities, the celebrated glory of the ancient world was bought and paid for by the relentless, invisible struggle of the masses. These empires were never designed to generate collective prosperity. They operated as massive energy funnels, intentionally built to move wealth and labor upward to immortalize a select few. The titles of gods and kings have faded, but the structural blueprint they perfected remains. They built a system of hierarchy so effective that thousands of years later, modern society is still standing in its shadow.